Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast, hosted by Makiba
and Brittany, two former NFL cheerleaders discussing hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry
and revealing the truth behind the Poms.
Welcome to our 6th episode.
Congrats, Britt. We're at number 6.
Congrats. We're more than halfway through our season.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We are loving all the feedback we're getting. We would actually want to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, come on. Tell us the truth.
Chat with us. We'd love to hear your stories, anything that you want to share. It's so awesome to hear that others can relate to what we're talking about, especially dancers in the NBA and people who've reached out to us. So anybody who's an aspiring cheerleader that wants to ask questions, we're happy to take those on during Cheer Chat. And we can keep things anonymous, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
We can mask names and disguise voices with some cool editing that we don't know how to do yet. But
yeah, we're hoping to get a hotline, right?
Yeah.
So you can leave a voicemail.
Right.
And we'll display your stories for all of our listeners.
Scary.
Yeah.
But fun. We want to create a community. That was one of the things that we really had hoped for with launching the podcast, is just everybody sharing their experiences, because we have a lot of stories between the two of us, but just think if we can share appearances from hell from people from all over. We know you got those stories, ladies and
We're
gents.
getting a lot of those comments where people are like, oh my gosh, tell a story about when we danced together, or this is so relatable. Like, we have some activity from like Wizards girls, the NBA, and I think like the Rosebuds in Oregon. They dance for the hockey team down there. So yeah,
thanks for definitely
more.
Yes, we want more. Thanks for joining us and
for a 6th episode called New Rules.
So I'm kind of, I didn't love the song, but the Dua Lipa, what's her is that her name? How you say it? But
it was pretty popular. When was that? Like this summer?
Yeah. It's sassy. We danced to it in an exercise class, and it was all about like, one, don't do this and do that. Very sassy. So this is our New Rules episode. Yeah. And yeah, we're going to be going over some of the crazy rules that we have in our world. I mean, some of the ones that like caught some headlines, and we're also going to write our own rules at the end for Locker Talk.
But first, some cheer chat, right?
Yes.
So we've been celebrating Makiba's birthday for like 2 weeks. It was on the 5th.
Yes. There's no end to celebrating my life. No, I'm just kidding. But...
Yeah, so a group of us went to Big Frida, which Makiba had never heard of Big Frida. What did you think?
I'd heard of her only in the context of like Beyonce giving shout outs, Drake giving shout outs, but I actually had not. I felt really stupid to not know that this was the originator of... It's pretty underground,
I would say. It's a pretty small, niche group.
Yeah. But the booty... What's it called? The Nola Bounce?
Yeah, Nola Bounce.
I've never seen twerking on this level in my life. I feel like my back and my butt are broken in comparison to the shaking that I saw. So fun, though, man. Yeah. I love the show. It was great.
We were smiling. So if you don't know Big Frida, I highly recommend you check her out. She is awesome. And her whole crew, like, I've seen her 3 times in Seattle now. So it was really fun. She changed it up this last time, but it was really fun.
The dancing was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And she even had, like, a twerk-off dance contest on stage.
We were too far in the back, or else we would try, right? Wouldn't you? Or were you scared?
No, I don't think I would have gotten up there. I would have definitely smelled way too much booty crack going on. We saw some sights, right?
Yeah, it was fun. And we saw somebody that you know more so than me, but social media, you know everybody supposedly.
Coach. He's one of the premier choreographers in the Seattle area. I don't know if he listens to our podcast.
He should be.
He killed it.
He did.
He was on stage.
He was kind of a sleeper cell, like kind of standing to the side.
Yeah.
And then he gave, Big Frida gave everybody like a moment to shine. And then his was the best.
It was
like,
pretty good.
Headstand, twerking, legs shaking. It was so cool.
So much fun.
It was fun.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
That was dope.
So we kind of touched on this, but we're really trying to collect stories.
Yes.
So just want to reiterate that it'll be anonymous. And we want to hear your stories. You can either send them to us on our Facebook, which is now live.
Yes, facebook.com/Pro Cheerleading Podcast. Please like our page, join the community, post away, send us messages, and then
you can even email us to our Pro Cheerleading podcast at gmail.com.
Correct.
Send us your novels. We'll scan through them and read.
Yes. Send in your crazy fan mail even if you want to. Oh my gosh, we're down for all stories.
We could do that one episode because I kept all my fan mail, so just I don't know if there's any that are really that crazy. The tape one kind of takes the cake, right?
Unless we're playing that on the air, I don't know that any of your other fan mail will do
it justice. Where else can they send it?
Yeah, I help run our Twitter account, so it's Pro Cheer Podcast, and your handle on Instagram is Pro Cheerleading Podcast. But whatever way you guys want to reach out, we're definitely excited to hear from you.
Yeah.
And we honestly thought when we saw the news, I'm sure you all have seen it, we're a little delayed with when we launch our episodes, but the 49er cheerleader Kayla Morris, who kneeled during the national
Except
anthem.
our friend request. I requested her on Instagram, and I think she totally blew up after all of this. So
well, hopefully she's not getting death threats. I mean, we're seeing all kinds of craziness
People are
nowadays
crazy on the internet.
But her page is still up on the roster, so it looks like a lot of people reached out asking, do you think that she got fired? And I mentioned that the 49ers owner was one of the few owners that was supportive of the guys kneeling, so I would hope that they would treat her with the same level of respect. And very curious to hear her story. It seemed like she's been pretty tight-lipped. We didn't see anything about her kneeling again this week, but
I figured it would start a ripple effect across the games, and like we would see whole teams kneeling, more girls.
I'm sure. I would imagine the opposite. Like,
really,
okay,
just now we're really tightening it up.
I could see it.
That's a little unfortunate, I think.
Yeah, that's my guess. I could see that being part of like a team meeting about. I'm sure you all have heard about this cheerleader who kneeled, and we, maybe just something that says we respect you, but just don't do it.
Or if we do something, we need to all do it, and we're not doing that. So let's just stay out of it.
I could see everyone wanting to avoid controversy. But cheers to her to
absolutely
doing what she felt in the moment. And we might as well say it. I mean, I thought about her decision to kneel and the timing of it all, but I still haven't seen the movie. But what's it called? Oh my goodness, my mind just went blank.
It's based on a book.
Yes. The Hate U Give.
Oh, right.
So sorry.
I've seen commercials for it. I have yet to see it myself.
It's taking on the issue of a police shooting in Chicago based on a book, but clearly this is part of real life. But I was wondering, I wonder what influenced her to do it and the timing. But, that movie was pretty powerful. My son went to see it, and I could see it resonating emotions all over again on this topic. So not sure what Kayla's story is, but
hopefully it comes out sooner rather than later, because I'm really curious, because such a simple move, just going to one knee, and like the impact it had. A lot of props to Kayla, for sure.
And from what I saw when I was snooping around on Twitter, there were a lot of people who were supportive of her. I would say more so than criticizing her for her protests. So shout out to Kayla.
Yeah.
Don't be stuck up, accept our friend request.
I know. Come on, Kayla.
Are we ready to just
get kind of along those lines?
Yeah.
I wonder if they have some new rules now within their team.
I know, on this specific issue.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they consulted their legal counsel before they did it.
Yeah.
Saying just, be consistent with how you're dealing with it.
Because I have the 2014 contract that we signed that outlines all of our rules that we sit down and look over as a team at orientation, which is usually your first thing that you do once the team has been officially made.
Yeah.
And in there, it does not say anything about personal protests, not doing them, doing them. What does it say? It says stay away from topics like religion and political views, but I don't know if that's even in there. But that was kind of something that was encouraged. Like, obviously, don't go to a promo and start talking about politics. It's not really
debating
the place.
Fans.
Right.
But, we might as well launch into it. Like you said, with new rules, we're going to go through the rules of different organizations, including our own, which may have changed since we both danced. But like you said, we should just kind of set the framework for it, right? Because you just made the team, and this is your team orientation, and you are given the rules, which are several pages long. It's essentially a contract. Not a lot of the teams have them posted anymore, right? Because of all the lawsuits, everybody kind of ripped them off their websites. But So this is the first time that you're hearing about what's expected of you and what you're supposed to do and not do.
I kind of hated orientation.
You did?
And I did it for 6 years, so you would think, oh, like, it's super easy. But for us, we had to go around the room, stand up. This was like the one and only time for some reason you had to reveal your age. So everybody was going around, say your name, your age, how many years, and then like what you do for a living. And then I think each year, like, the wild card was different, but I hated it. You had to stand up. I just felt so nervous, more nervous than auditions. Really? Yeah.
Oh, it was more relaxed. I was more excited, I guess, to meet the squad mates officially and figure out like who people are. And you know, my last few years I was like, oh great, I'm the oldest one on the team, thanks. And you're 19, half my age, great. But no, I was more excited to hear about you know, where people worked, because we don't get to, unless you've watched auditions back by the time you have orientation, because there's a live webcast, you don't really know very much about your teammates yet. So I kind of looked at it as an exciting time to figure out who was who and
who drove from where. Some people are like, oh, I'm from Spokane, I'm driving back and forth until I get settled here.
Exactly.
It's crazy. But some states away sometimes.
Right, but this is the first time that you're having like an in-depth discussion about the rules, and you know, similar to any other place of employment, right? When you're hired, you have your mandatory orientation, and it might be an employee handbook or, you know, rules of the road, so to speak. And it's very similar in nature.
Yeah, it sets the stage for the rest of the season, right? So not like it refrains you from, but you're kind of expected, like, none of these rules should be broken then. I told you the first day of the job what you should and shouldn't be doing. Yep. They definitely go in depth. It's usually our director and an assistant of some kind, whether that's the choreographer. But giving examples, there's a lot of hand raising, like, does anyone have an example of when this happened? And so we'd be there for a long time.
Yeah, that's usually like probably the longest team meeting for sure.
Unless somebody interrupts to go watch a movie premiere.
Oh, that happened one year.
You should tell that story. That was so random.
So odd. So this is the year, I think, after we won the Super Bowl. And this is you know, we're all in business attire. It's our business meeting. Everybody's usually cleared out of VMAC by then. But Russell Wilson was in the Entourage movie. And I think they had a screening earlier in the day, so I don't even know why
they did it again.
Exactly, but here he comes walking into our conference room.
A few gasps, like
yeah, it was just kind of like, what is happening?
He introduced himself. Yeah, he's like, hey y'all, I'm Russell Wilson.
Licked his lips and said, yeah, come on downstairs, or do you guys want to like watch my movie premiere? And I think I'd heard about him being in the movie, but I was just kind of like, is this your movie? But okay, but everybody was looking to our director like,
what do we do?
Are we actually going to go see, you know, are we really going to interrupt this long behind orientation meeting to go down and watch the movie? But she said as long as we were fine with, resuming the meeting after the movie, then great. And then we were down there watching Entourage. And
it was very inappropriate. And I think the director was right behind me, and there was like a sex scene to kick it off. I was like blushing.
But yeah, that was that was the year I say that we went Hollywood a little bit. But yeah. Usually
it was just really weird. That's never happened since and before, I doubt.
No. Very, very odd. But usually it's taken very seriously, and we do not have it interrupted by...
to go watch a movie.
With sex scenes.
Yeah.
With your director. But, yes. So like you said, you know what you're supposedly signing up for, but you don't really get...
They had popcorn at the premiere, remember? We'll get into that, but did we get any popcorn?
I didn't try to eat any.
I didn't get up, help myself, scoop myself a big old bag.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so sorry, back to orientation, what it's usually like.
Yes.
It's very
professional. And professional.
Sets the tone for the rest of the season.
And, you know, to the extent people have commented, like, these ladies, when we're complaining about the rules or there's news articles about the rules, people often say, like, you know what you're signing up for, like, you know what you're getting into, why would you do it if you can't agree to the rules? And
I take that, I agree to that.
Yeah.
Because it is made very clear. It's not like, oh, we'll just let you fumble along, and if you make a mistake, we'll correct you along the way. It's very black and white.
Yeah.
So
agreed. I just think, you know, just similar to any other job, if you hear about the rules, it's not that you're going to raise your hand if you think a rule is unfair and say,
can we change that for me?
Yeah. Like, I don't really think this rule is clear, or... You know, does this
Number
also
15's
apply?
Really hot, so can I just date him?
Or does this apply to the guys too? Like, you know, you really shut up and accept the rules of the program, and and sign your life away that night, because you have to actually sign the contract that agrees to complying with the rules, and that's all she wrote.
Right. And you're basically signing that if I break any of the rules, they have the right and the discretion to eliminate me from the team.
Yeah.
So it's understood, right?
Supposedly.
Let's get into the rules that everybody broke.
Exactly. Well, there are certain rules that were more like, somewhat like finishing school, of rules of etiquette that you would think people would just know.
Common sense,
but you're actually having to spell out. And remember that some of these women are 18 years old. It's their first real job. Maybe they haven't been around executives before, or celebrities, athletes, fans. So you're actually having to tell them how to conduct themselves and how to behave. So, or how to behave at promos even. So some of those rules are covered, which they're not controversial, but some examples would be what? Like
walking up, if you're at a promo, you have to walk up to the main contact. We would be contracted out to do multiple and a variety of promos. So they weren't always under the same person under the Seahawks, or
right.
What am I trying to say here?
Well, basically, there'd often be, it could be a business for all we know. It's not necessarily a Seahawks run promotion, a promotional appearance. So you might have to seek out the person who.
There you go. See,
yeah,
Miss Attorney, say what I want to say.
No, but you might have to seek out the person who is listed as the contact, so that you know what you're supposed to do, and just that level of interaction in a professional manner,
right?
So that you're not just feel like I'm here, or like you have to be assertive and professional and introduce yourself.
How can we get to work, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a shame that you have to kind of say certain things, but
well, there was a tendency, unfortunately, I'm not trying to pinpoint, because I'm a millennial too, I guess, but there's a tendency to be on your phone or walk in with a Starbucks, okay, what do I need to do? Kind of a weird, unprofessional attitude. So that was really drilled in to try to be as professional as you can.
Right.
Don't be distracted with other things, and introduce yourself. Right. That's pretty basic.
That's
We're warming up, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
it gets juicier. Yeah. It gets juicier. But yeah, and also things like no chewing gum.
Right. There was plenty of times, we've stated before, that we're traveling. And there's been plenty of times where you're in an airplane, so people chew gum to pop their ears. But if that was noticed, it was please spit out your gum now.
Gosh. Oh, that sounds so
I mean, we're going to get into that, but I remember we were waiting at the airport, and I had my legs crossed, and I have a tattoo on my foot that nobody really even knows about because it's on my foot, but it's hidden for the most part. And we also have to travel in the same attire. So you're not just wearing whatever you want, but we're wearing these navy business suits that I have a name for them. I just feel like I look like a basketball coach. Okay, it's I'm taller. I look like a basketball player, and you have to wear high heels too, right? You're never traveling in flats.
No.
Oh, anyways.
Most uncomfortable outfit. Well, we might as well go down the rabbit hole. We're rabbit hole girls, okay?
Right.
So, but one of the Super Bowls that we traveled was in New York. It was yes. Man, so we go to New York, we win the Super Bowl, we are changing after a night of partying into that good old business suit, and we had these lime green glitter heels with the hand painted Seahawk on them.
I never bought those.
They looked great from afar, but they were not very comfortable. But I packed them. I mean, they were, eye-catching and everything, but so not comfortable. So we ended up having to fly back in a snowstorm, basically, in that outfit. And we couldn't even leave.
A few hours later. You're celebrating the win.
All night long.
There's a big party that they hold. And then it's literally have your stuff packed before the game even. Because it's just jetting off to the next thing, which also included heading home right after the party.
Right after the party.
So what time was this? Would you say 3 in the morning? 4?
4 in the morning, and then so you change into that uncomfortable outfit, and then we ended up getting stuck on the runway for hours and hours, and then it just prolonged the whole entire day. And then you're flying back once we finally were able to take off. So you spent I don't even know how many hours in these shoes in this outfit. by the time I got home and we landed in Seattle, my feet were swollen. And I tell you that just, oh my gosh, trying to...
But you can't
take
act
them off.
in pain. Like, what are you supposed to do?
You suck it up. I was in so much freaking pain from my feet being swollen on the airplane.
But it wasn't even a few hours delay, wasn't it? Literally like 5-6 hours. You guys were
forever.
sitting on this plane deciding, like, trying to defrost it, all that crazy stuff.
It was nuts.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been to Hong Kong twice now with them, and I didn't know anything about compression, like tights and stuff. Yeah. So my feet swelled like 4 times their size, and I'm crammed in these high heels.
It's horrible pain.
Feet
it's so
red.
painful.
It's just so bad. Wow.
Yeah. Ooh.
But did we say anything? Did we complain?
No, because that's one of the rules. Don't complain.
Yeah.
And all,
that was.
Do not complain, and don't speak about controversial topics, and just grin and bear it. But yes.
But anyways, yeah,
your legs were crossed,
and my legs were crossed, and my tattoo was revealed, and it was like, uncross your, like, I can see your tattoo. Figure it out. Like, I didn't even know you had one. I don't ever want to know again.
Yeah, because there were certain rules, everyone, that kind of governed our appearance, right? Mm-hmm. So you couldn't ever have your tattoos showing. Mm-hmm. They were supposed to be covered with makeup at all times. She didn't want to see it. If you had a belly button ring, she didn't want to ever see it out.
Additional ear piercings, nose piercing, lip piercings, all of it, all covered up, taken out. Little things like no hair ties on your wrists and clear polish on your nails, nothing bright and loud, and just French tip or clear.
Yep. And then just the expectation and the rules that you would always show up with the proper makeup,
and that included practices. I think we forgot to cover that.
On
you
She's
were
Got
not
the Look.
Supposed to just we
not really.
Oh,
people don't realize, like you said, that we
would get ready like extra glam because we're coming from our jobs. So then it would be like, okay, let's jazz it up. I'm going to practice.
Like literally, we're going to sweat and work hard and work out with makeup on, not full glam, but you could not show up to practice busted, basically. No. And if you didn't wear makeup at work, guess what? You're putting that crap on in the car on the way to practice, because the expectation was you need to look like a cheerleader.
Yeah, and at all times.
At all times. She didn't want people, that are leaving VMAC to see us and be like, oh, dang, she's on the squad. I mean, she wanted you to look the part, which...
Well, and her reasoning was that at any moment, Como 4 could walk in and be like, we want to do a spotlight, but that never happened.
True.
We always knew when somebody was coming in to do, like, a highlight about our team.
Yeah, and maybe it would also be, like, little photo shoots, but I think, like you said, we would know if there was going to be something that we were shooting or extra for practice, but you did have to, the expectation was, attractive makeup for practice. Yes, you're sweating in it, but it's also getting your skin used to like the sweat and just the build. You know how to breathe with makeup on while you're actually exerting.
Same with your hair down. Like if you had long hair, for the most part, you just left it down because you're not going to be wearing a ponytail on game day.
Right. You better learn how to whip it out your face.
Yeah. But some girls would, if we had a break or practice is over, girls put the hair tie on their wrist, and that was like a big no-no.
Right.
So... I don't know. It just was like, it would put the fear of God in your heart when practice was stopped. And it was like, why do you think it's okay to have a hair thing on your wrist?
Did you not see the rules? Did you not know what's expected of you?
Like, why were we so scared when we got in trouble? It was rare that someone was like, whatever, I'll take it off. Like, what's the big deal?
But I mean, if you think about it, we should have like a different expectation for a professional level of cheerleading. This isn't a high school cheerleading team. This isn't a college cheerleading team. This isn't semi-pro. So maybe it was made such a big deal because it's like, you guys are professionals. So I shouldn't have to say these things. Otherwise, maybe we'd be spending so much more time policing. Oh, you didn't do this right. Or you didn't, bring the right Poms to practice. It's kind of like, I need to count on you guys to just know how to conduct yourselves and come looking the part, acting the part, and pretty much be perfect all the time.
Yeah. I feel like we're on a tangent right now, but even that's another thing is we had a rotation of practice outfits. Yeah. So they were always booty shorts and a bra top, and sometimes a rotation of outer sweats. Like we would have 2 or 3 pairs of those, and then different color combinations. And if you were the girl that wore lime green on a black day, woo! Woo!
That's happened.
You are texting everybody you know if they have extras from years prior. And a lot of times they weren't the same year to year.
Right.
So sure, you have the right color now, but it has like lime green writing on it.
And
everybody just knows.
But that would create serious panic attacks, guys.
It would.
The rules were very important, and it might have seemed very ticky-tacky, but you're trying to have like this uniform look as a squad. Sometimes you might be filming something, and for somebody to be standing out in a different color sports bra, it's just like you feel like the smallest thing on earth because, you know, or the different Poms. Like, it got complicated a couple years. I think it got a little more simplified.
It did.
Same color practice Poms, not... You know, oh gosh, because or for getting your boots for game day practices, and you might have diarrhea for
forever. That's why I was so skinny, stressed out all the time.
But a lot of these rules, you know, we had to. It was just your job to stay on top of everything and always be prepared, always look the part. You know, for some of the other teams, you know, we've seen some interesting rules around personal hygiene. That, you know, and these are digging back a few years, guys. I'm assuming that they are no longer in existence, like the Buffalo Jills are no longer a team. But they had rules about how often women change their tampons, which is nasty. That they even had to say something.
Discuss with anybody.
No, but I think they had to have a rule about it and just kind of literally about washing their twat and stuff. Like, just come on, man. Like, it's too much.
Well, we've talked about this. We've had the talks about, okay, someone's stinky a few times. I don't know. It might have just been the last year, but basically, like, y'all look sick at practice. Like, can you glam it up? We weren't doing enough makeup. And she got a little lenient and was like, you can wear a pony. Like, you can be ready to kind of work out. Because practices weren't easy. You are sweating and working really hard.
Right.
But she felt like the makeup aspect and, like,
people
looking presentable, it was falling off.
Well, even the idea about, and I don't know if the rules were that specific on tanning. I would tend to.
True.
I would tend to ignore them because I didn't tan. But, you know, people were looking a little on the pasty side, you know, at practice and just maybe only doing it up for games. And I think, you know, it was.
It would be pull them to the side and she would be like, hey, you need to get like some color on your skin. Yeah. One time I thought I was so smart because we had those white pants, right? Yeah. But we would get the stains from the tanning. So I was like, oh my gosh, best idea ever. I wore my scrubby sweats into the spray tan booth so that just my top part would be tan. And I was like, I defied like everything. Like, I am so smart. And I did it for Torchlight Parade because it's in the summer, so it's hot. Like, I just thought I had totally mastered it. And I think there was like a last minute practice called or something. So I had these white chicken legs out there and then like super dark. And I remember Lindsay, shout out to Lindsay. She was like, what did you do? Oh my gosh. Like, your legs are so white and the rest is so tan. But I think the director was like, that's a great idea. Everybody do it. But like, I didn't time it right. So it was like, I had to practice all week with white legs. Oh, well.
Okay. But I think if you think about like pasty legs, pasty faces, and not enough makeup, that we could probably look like zombies, especially when it's like the winter time and it's starting to get, you lose color in general, like in the winter. And, you know, these practices, you're cold, you're trying to bundle up. You're less concerned about looking cute. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. But you're still supposed to be, you know, thinking about how you're presenting yourself. Were we allowed to eat at appearances?
Oh, gosh, that was always... We had some really cool guys that worked for the Seahawks that usually would be at those events, and just promos in general. They were very generous and wanted us to, like, partake if there was food there. Right. Whatever it was. You know, hey, help yourself to some food, like, take a quick break, whatever. And I just remember being like... oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. I'm so thirsty. No, thank you. And they're like, are you sure? It actually made it more awkward that we didn't eat or drink.
Well, yeah, because they're like, come on, man. You're going to be here for a few hours. I won't tell on you. Like, put a French fry in your mouth and it's okay. Right.
I would give in sometimes, and I'd be like eating behind.
I'm always a little piglet trying to stuff something in my mouth. That sounds bad, but you know, but we weren't supposed to eat in uniform. I guess it can look unprofessional, right? I mean, we're supposed to be kind of Disney princess-ish when we are out in public. So, you know, unless it's something like a formal
burgers
dinner,
slopping down the side of your mouth or something.
And that would be the day that you would get it on your uniform and just look like that person that it's a sloppy mess. But...
Or we had super fans, that like to follow us at every event we were at and take photos of us, whether we were ready or not.
Oh, yeah.
So they would probably post the photo of you, like, unhinging your jaw to take a huge bite of some Chick-fil-A or something.
Right. But a lot of these rules did make sense in that respect, where it's just like, we have an image to maintain and uphold, and so you just have a little extra bit of polish to you. Mm-hmm. Even though you are hungry and you did want to eat a little bite.
And you've been working for 6 hours straight.
Right, because you don't have time to eat. Like, if you're at work all day, unless you try to shove in a late lunch or an extra snack, but you might be doing your makeup in the car, so you can't be eating and doing makeup. You got to do your lips last because you got to stuff some food in there, and you literally have not a lot of time. You're actually changing in your car. I mean, how many times have I done that? Yeah. Thanks nobody for peeking in there.
Little protein bars and stuff. Everybody had them in their bags for a quick bite. But you're never seen opening your mouth unless it's to not even talk. Just smile.
Just smile.
Look at the baby. Look at the baby.
So I think we covered the softer rules, right?
Yeah.
Are we ready to...
Hardcore. Let's do it.
Hair flip. All right. So let's start with social media.
Okay.
Because
pretty controversial.
Yeah. So we, some of the teams have individual social media accounts for the people on the squad. So you might have, at Seagal Makiba on Twitter or Instagram, etc., Facebook page. Mm-hmm. Other teams don't allow that, and it's just like the team account.
Okay.
Maybe they're avoiding a lot of these.
So overarching. Yeah. Like. Seagulls only, and someone directs it.
Exactly.
Okay.
But you also obviously, have your individual personal...
As humans.
As human beings, have your own social media account. And so there were rules around what you can post on your personal social media account, mainly with the idea that they were somehow protecting you from a privacy standpoint. It's not that hard to find out who people are these days, but... The idea was that on your personal social media, you were not supposed to disclose that you were an actual cheerleader for the organization. They encourage you to use your team or squad accounts to promote your job as a professional cheerleader, but not on your personal social media.
Well, we saw this grow because when we first made it in 2011, we had no personal kind of... cheerleading accounts that we could manage ourselves. Absolutely not. No. Mm-hmm. And then I think the next thing we got was a Facebook page that was tied. It just had so many complicated rules that it almost left you like, I don't even want to
use it. Right.
Like, do I have to? And you could, what am I trying to say? Opt out of having an account if you didn't want to. But you had to be like following certain people that could manage and watch and complicated passwords, so if for some reason you had an update, you get logged out and then you have to wait until practice, but you wanted to post about selling calendars or something. I get the safety thing because honestly there's a lot of people and fans that you wouldn't want them to be like, oh, this is where they're gonna be at this time. Like, that's pretty scary. There's a safety standpoint to it, but I think the cheerleaders that get the most exposure and people can relate to the most are the ones where it's fused together. Like, okay, now you're a DCC, you're Brittany DCC, and like, you can post whatever you want on your personal. You can announce that. Right. You can use it as both your personal account. Right.
So. And I think that simplifies it to have it set up that way. But I think it just became. I think everybody was tripping up on these social media rules while I was on the team, just because it's really awkward when you make the team and you're like so excited to share the news with everybody on your personal social media accounts before you get a team account. But you're expected to kind of like take it down. And,
at orientation, it was like if anybody's tagged you, congratulating you, or led on to any way that you've made the team now on your personal Facebook, take it down right now. Yeah. Because you have to friend me now. Yes. Make your account private, and I will see. Yes. So.
And it gets, to be complex.
It was kind of sad.
And I don't, Facebook and I are, I try to get on there, but I know I fell behind, and I think I got called out for being tagged in things. And I'm just like, I can't keep monitoring the tagging business. And you can set your settings to do this and do that, but it was kind of obnoxious. And then they relaxed the rules a little bit by letting us have our own accounts. But again, like you said, technical difficulties and issues. But what could you post on your, I think people flirted, even when they got the social media account as a cheerleader, they still would post things on their personal, and it's like, why can't you just relax and do all of that promotion?
Oh, there was a big,
like
if we were traveling or something, you couldn't post, like, you're in Hong Kong because of the team. So you can't say on your personal, I'm in Hong Kong.
And taking all these pictures and, because you wouldn't have been there but for being a part of it. So they encourage you to put posts like that on your team account, which I don't know why that was so hard for people.
I don't know either.
These rules got broken so much that it was just kind of like,
quite a few emails, take it down now. We outline this specifically, not okay.
Yeah. Well, let's bring up Bailey Davis. She's the former Saints cheerleader who was fired from the team because she posted on her personal social media account a picture of her in a black lace lingerie-looking bodysuit. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't her team account. I don't even know if they had a team account, but...
Well, we got to backtrack a little bit because one of the main rules that has been in the rule book forever is that you cannot have ever... pose semi-nude or nude in the past, or obviously currently when you're on the team.
Right.
So if you did Playboy back in the day and you audition and make it, you're automatically off.
Right. Or, and it didn't happen to you or somebody tried to accuse you of doing something.
So I think it was like this is my first year, and the first practice after orientation, she kind of announced at orientation, like, hey, I'm going to pull you each to the side, and if any of these rules aren't going to work for you, if this isn't the team for you, if you don't think you can uphold to them, or if I've found any information about you, posing in the nude, I'm going to pull you to the side. So then she pulls me over to the side, and I was like, oh, no, I'm in trouble. And she had received an email that I was, like, stripping on a table and dancing around. And she looked into it, and obviously it wasn't true. Mm-hmm. But what had happened is I was a go-go dancer for a casino.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't even want us to, like, show our stomachs. So we were pretty covered up. But they did a promo video, which, oh my God, I think it's on YouTube. We will not link it below. But anyways, it was a former gal, and she knew that was a rule. And so she tried to twist it to where I would get kicked off.
I see.
Because my ex was her current boyfriend.
See what happens?
We're going to get to that rule because, like, what the heck?
That's
I'm not even
crazy.
with that person anymore, but yeah, so
interesting.
It could even be not true.
Right.
But she wanted to make sure
that... even for the Bailey Davis, I think she was also being accused of being... Because the Saints had a rule that if you were out at a restaurant and a player walked in, you were expected to leave. If you showed up somewhere and there were players there, then you were expected to leave. And I think she was also rumored, even though she denies it, that she was hanging out with players or interacting with them. We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that rule later too. But yeah, so she was kicked off the team for posting this picture. And it's ironic, obviously, right? Because what she was wearing,
technically,
it probably matched how much skin she's showing
in the uniform.
Like, would you consider our uniforms semi-nude? Some of them,
right?
The bikini shot.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's debatable what was considered to be in poor taste, but they said it looked slutty and
cutter,
just like that.
But it sounds kind of like what you were saying. There was a few strikes against her.
Yeah,
and I took a really strong standpoint on this, on the fact that she knew the rules beforehand. But couldn't have just been kind of a slap on the wrist, like, hey, just take that down.
Right.
That kind of is borderline, like, we're not comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of extreme to kick her off now that I think about it. But maybe there was a few other things going on. But like you're saying, the double standard, the players. Like,
right.
So we have to always cater to them. What if you're halfway through a meal with your parents after a game and the players walk in and you're like, I am not going to move. And then you get tattled on like I did. Because people are out to get you.
I think it's ridiculous. Especially if I'm there first. Like, I just don't agree with the reach of some of their rules that were unless you go and sit at their table and just try to boo it up with them the whole night. I just think you two people can coexist in a public establishment without, especially if they didn't have to do it. It was a rule only for the cheerleaders that they had to be the ones to leave, and not the other way around. So I definitely felt her complaint and against the Saints, that it's just not fair to put that responsibility and burden only on the cheerleaders. And along the same lines with social media, the Saints had rules about, I think, the girls becoming aware of the marital status of all of the guys. For some reason, they couldn't follow them on social media. If the players chose to follow them on social media, they had to block them. It was just so extra. And, like, how do you block a whole roster of, like, that starts off with 90 guys and gets down to 53, and then the roster changes throughout the year with trades and people going to the practice squad, and who has time for that?
No.
That's too much.
We never had rules like that.
No, we did not.
It was not, like, encouraged, but nobody... I mean, you're supposed to follow your own team. Like, on my Seagal Brittany account, I was definitely following Russell Wilson and, like, why not? That seems ridiculous. You're all part of the same company.
And, you're employees, and I think that was part of you're all employees, and that was part of the basis of her complaint, that it was gender discrimination because the guys are treated one way and we're treated another, and are some obvious differences between cheerleaders and professional athletes, but they get to post what they want. If they get to post something with their shirts off.
Yeah, working out and doing jumping jacks.
Like, okay. Not that we need to do that, but I think the rationale doesn't hold, but there is a line that I think sometimes people try to toe, like, I know that there are rules around, semi-nude or whatever, but I'm going to post something that, kind of toes the line a little bit. Like, why go that far?
I don't think our team would ever eliminate a girl flat point period for any post. It would just be a conversation of, like, hey, take it down. Like, next time ask me about it if you're questionable.
Right.
So that was kind of nice that you felt a little bit of freedom, like, hey, I want to post this. But again, it's, like, so ridiculous. You should be able to know. If you even feel like you have to ask, just don't post it.
I think that would be safer.
Save it for the off season and when you're not auditioning.
Right.
It's not that hard. I just think people want attention so much that it's like, I did 3 pull-ups. I'm going to take off my bra top and, do the flexing, take a picture of my back.
Yeah.
One girl got in trouble for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that one.
It was like a, progress, like, workout picture where you have the mirror behind you and then you take a selfie, like, over your shoulder to show your back. It's so muscular. Yeah, but, like... Why do you need to put that on Instagram?
I mean, and I think that's kind of a legitimate point of just, like, how far do you need to go? You're already, like you said, sexy and wonderfully and beautifully made and just kind of doing the most.
You're already a cheerleader. Like, isn't that enough?
Yeah.
You get a dance for thousands of people. You look gorgeous all the time. You're required to.
Right. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, like, what's the need for what?
Yeah.
Just for what,
And let's be real. Some women and maybe men even might do professional cheerleading with different end goals in mind, right? Maybe they're doing it for the attention and the likes and the followers, or they're trying to set themselves up for opportunities after they're done. So I think Bailey even mentioned some of that, like, she was
adding to her dance portfolio photos.
Exactly, and wanting to not feel as restricted in what she can and can't do to promote herself, because you're not allowed to, I think it's even in our rules, to mention that you are a professional cheerleader for that team and promoting yourself for other things that might be similar. Like, some people want to do, audition workshops later on, but then you're actually competing with, with the team. That also
non-competing.
What's
the technical term?
There's a non-compete in our rules, which I think is is interesting, right? Because it is a little limiting for girls that want to do something post cheering, where maybe you do want to share what you know and provide, like, audition workshops, or you have your own dance school and you want to teach choreography and something that shouldn't really be viewed as competing with your former team, but there is a rule against it. I think some people got away with doing it. Maybe they got it approved, but I think Bailey had mentioned that she just felt like the guys are able to promote themselves however they want to, and she was trying to build her portfolio, and it was just lingerie and the cheerleading uniforms show more skin, and she just felt like she was slut shamed and kicked off the team.
Well, she has thousands and thousands of followers now, so
yeah,
and she's been on multiple like news things.
True.
So maybe she feels
But she's not dancing.
Yeah, she's not dancing. She teaches dance. So.
Good. Well, I think we have covered off on a lot, and we saved the juiciest one for last.
Yeah, we
did. That wonderful rule about no fraternization with players, management, and staff of the team that you...
Including the mascot.
Yes, that you work for. So the only team that we saw that does not have a rule are the Oakland Raiders. They do not have a rule that prohibits it. Some rules are stated more as like, we strongly discourage.
Right. That was our rules that I have right in front of me here. Hopefully I don't get sued for referring to these. But basically it was at the disclosure or approval of the director.
Oh, at the discretion of the director?
Yeah, discretion. There you go.
Yeah.
So, but come on, Makiba. Let's be real.
Let's be real. Truth behind the Poms. I think it does happen, but let's break down because people always assume that they're
that's just the second number one quit.
Second number one, number two,
second number one, number two, you dummy. But basically, along the lines of, do you guys get paid? It's always, do you get to hang out with the players?
Yes, all the time.
So do we?
Not really. No. So let's So if you think about it. We come to practice after the players are gone. Like they're there during the day, 9 to 5 or whenever they get there. 7 a.m., 5 a.m., no time for sleep like Russell Wilson. But by the time we come for practice, they're usually gone.
Right. Tuesdays they have off, which is our practice day, so they haven't even been there all day.
Exactly. And then Thursday, I mean, every team is different, right, guys? But for the most part, we're not all up in there just in each other's face 24/7. Game day, we have our on-field practice prior to the teams coming out and warming up. Sometimes there's a few people that are warming up on the field, and you know, you might steal a little glance here or there. But
I feel like the visiting team was always pretty looky-loos.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I was looking too, but
yeah,
it just was.
Hey,
you know, you're stretching over there. I'm gonna look.
I mean, yeah, I got eyes. They're not broken. I mean,
which team did you think was the most flirty?
Ooh.
That, like, just in general, like, hey, ladies, and whatever.
I'm trying to think. I feel like Philly was like that, if I remember correctly.
And maybe it's because I think, even though he's not, like, that nice, Cam Newton, I think he's very handsome.
You
and
do?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I don't.
Really?
But, I mean...
Cauliflower ear and all.
Yeah.
Oh, bro. But I felt like, the Panthers were very, like... Hey.
I mean, if you think about it, that's probably the closest proximity is during a game when you are near the guys.
Team.
Yeah. So, there's pregame, and then, you know, we're off the field, they're practicing, they're playing, there might be... So when you're lined up on the field in the four corners, you know, that's the closest that you will physically be probably to the guys, unless you're, like, on a promo trip with them or doing an appearance together. But, like, there's that little bit of interaction. And
I don't know them. In any personal level.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll do a promo or two with them.
Yeah, you might spend a day at a hospital together or something like that. And so the players are employees similar to how we are, and some of the things that we're tasked to do together, you're really just working together. So it's not like you're hanging out and spending quality time outside of work. But I'm sure it's happened plenty of times where people exchange those digits and DMs and whatever the heck people...
They didn't seem to care if...
No, because there was no conversation
like, oh, are you taking... Like, it was like, hey, so-and-so wants your number. Are you going to give it to him? And I'm like, no, go away.
And, like, I'm sure with social media and stuff that, you know, people have their ways of...
DMs.
Yeah, that's happened, right? I mean, but at the end of the day, it's a rule. The best thing you can do is not get caught, right? Like, I mean, because really the ramifications of it are just that you're the one that's in trouble, not the guys. I mean, they don't have rules that say leave the cheerleaders alone. They are off limits.
Do you know that for a fact, though?
I don't, but... Okay,
have you heard the crazy rules, though, about how they basically outline, like, hey, don't get anybody pregnant?
What? No, I did not.
Yes, somebody told me this, that they'll be like, hey guys, so like you're gonna get groupies, there's gonna be girls.
Oh, I think like with like, what is that, the rookie symposium maybe, where they break all that down?
Oh, I don't know. See, I don't know.
But maybe they do. I think the rule around fraternization doesn't just apply to cheerleaders. I think it's like staff.
All the staff.
Yeah.
Even the front desk admin girl.
Exactly. Oh, I remember. So like
Ooh.
Super Bowl year, the first Super Bowl, I just remember going up the stairs to go back to the after party. And I don't remember which player it was, but it was clearly someone that, it's just the staff and the cheerleaders were there and families and friends and stuff. But I remember passing by a full-on conversation where there was a girl, I'm assuming she worked for the team, and the guy basically said to her, like, if you're willing to jeopardize it all, then I'm down. Like, I literally heard that as I was, like, passing to go up the stairs.
Hey, you guys just won, so...
I mean...
To the wind.
It was so, like, whoa, did I just really hear that? But, I mean, I think that...
Was it a staff person with a player?
Yeah.
Or staff on staff?
I think with a player. The player was basically telling her, like, if you're willing to risk your job and everything, like, I'm
But
down.
it's exciting, right? Because, like we were saying, it's like forbidden fruit.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, here's these gorgeous athletic guys. Here's these gorgeous athletic women. And, okay, like, VMAC has cute staff.
Do they? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, we had, yeah. But, I mean, the temptation is there. I think it's normal. Like, but you're right. It is very tempting. I mean, put it this way. I'm not going to act like I'm just, like, holier than thou. I'm a flirt. So, like, when I'm dancing on the field, mostly with the visiting team, because, we have this, okay, so it's my favorite part of the game. It's the last 2-minute warning, and we take the field, and we're all on a number or in the end zone. I always love being on the numbers, but you would rotate around each game, and the times that I got to dance, like, on the 50-yard line, 40-yard line, right in front of the bench, like, I'm looking dead at you, and I don't care. Like, it's my fun time to just be like, look what you can't have, look at you.
Unless there was a double turn, and then I'm like, shit. I hope I nailed this.
But I thought that was just so fun. It was like a flirty, fun moment because they are looking. I remember being on like a radio show called The Barbershop as a guest co-host or whatever, and they called in Golden Tate for an interview. I think it was after he was gone from the team. But anyway. And so they asked if I had any questions for him, and I was like, well, I'm going to ask the question cheerleaders want to know. And I was like, so when we go on the field and we're doing our timeouts or whatever, are you guys watching us or are you paying attention to, football, right? And he got really quiet and he was like, nah, we watch. But if you think about it, I mean, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, and I have no shame in my game. Like, I'll look dead at you. And I'm also talking shit a little bit too. Like,
we're kicking your butt.
Exactly.
Well, we used to.
Oh, I know. We just lost today.
We did. It was really close, though.
It
and
was.
We
the
really
Rams
tried
always
to come
have
back.
our number.
They do.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But shout out to the Rams cheerleaders, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I think it's a fun aspect of it. I think in general, like, the cheerleaders are kind of viewed as untouchable. And if you think about...
we don't eat, we don't breathe, we don't speak, so we are robots.
Oh my gosh, for like blow up dolls. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But think about what it would be like if they didn't have that rule about fraternization.
Well, exactly. Like, it would be drama central, I think. And that's not really our focus.
Yeah. It's
been stated multiple times, like when you make the team, like if you're here to find a boyfriend or be about that life, like this isn't the program for you.
Right.
We're going to get into like body image and stuff too. But that was also said, like, hey, if you can't maintain,
keep up with the
keep it pushing, sister. But, what was I going with that?
Well, just that, I don't know.
It was a really great point, and then I started thinking about weight.
Which is easy to throw you off your game.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, there are people who might do it for the wrong reason.
Oh, I was going to say, just drama within the team, and we're supposed to be close. So how would practices go if two girls are talking to the same dude or hooked up with the same guy?
Right. There's people who might be married and just the saga of... Yeah, it would get ugly.
It would.
And I mean, there are plenty of companies that also have similar rules. Like, you will not, on fraternization and within the company, like, it can kind of get ugly. It might leave room for sexual harassment type stuff. I mean, because it wasn't just the players, it was also management. And, I think there's something to be said for that. If they think that, say that
she keeps making the team because... Yeah, she's with some higher up.
Yeah, some VPs. I think that rule makes a lot of sense.
It does.
I just think it's one that tends to be broken. But I mean, what do you expect? Like, I just don't think you're going to regulate to the fullest extent of the law that one, unless
we're human.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. But it doesn't happen as much as people probably think.
Right.
Even after the game, so we have to go through their parking lot that is like super secure, but the elevators are right next there, and we go up to the third, fourth level. Yeah, our floor to get to our cars. The wives and girlfriends are definitely looking at us like, I know what you're thinking. Or I don't know.
It's a weird vibe.
It's a weird vibe.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, good game, girls. Like, you look great. Like, they actually don't even, like, pay us no mind. It's just kind of like some side eye and stuff. I have my hair in a messy bun and, like, my lipstick smeared off. Like, I'm ready to go home. Don't worry about it. You know,
right.
You're leaving in your fancy cars. And
people aren't here for your man.
Right.
But I think the rule does kind of at least create some professional environment where it's just not a good look, I think, in general, to have it so blatantly obvious that it's a free season, free for all. I'm curious how the Raiders deal with it, though, if they have issues because they don't have a rule prohibiting it. I'm curious what it's like in the NBA. I've definitely heard stories.
Okay.
Well, I know someone who played professionally in the NBA, and he mentioned that in Cleveland, for example, and this was several years ago, but just that it was not uncommon at all for them to like party together, go to clubs together, house parties, they'd be invited. Like, it was not like a thing at all.
Just now recently became an issue, or is it still pretty casual in the NBA?
I have no idea.
We'll have to talk to an NBA dancer.
Yeah, do you guys, but think about how much more contact they have in the NBA. That's where I'm really curious, because you're right on the court and you're dancing and popping it, and I'm sure there's a lot of temptation in the same way, but that's not what we're there for. We're there to dance. But if I'm single and my eyes aren't broken, I'm gonna look, and I think that's just natural. The bigger deal you make of it, the more people are gonna break the rule. Put it that way, I think.
Right, because it's even more exciting. I don't know.
Well, people fantasize about it, right? There's the cheerleader player,
Okay, this is maybe a whole other tangent, but if you were a famous basketball player, would you even have a girlfriend?
Would I?
Yeah.
It's almost like when they're that young, especially, like, just be single.
Blow up.
Just
stay
go single and
spread
do
your seed all over
the skeet. I just think it's so unrealistic.
It is.
Because, the idea of them being monogamous is just a joke. The people who take them seriously
are That's why we're getting the side
joke.
eye. I'm not trying to, but, insecurities because you're constantly chasing and making sure they're locked down. But
which is like, why would you even bother?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that life.
Me neither. That sounds stressful.
Heck yeah. But they should get that out of their system. And I don't think while they're playing and it's being thrown at them from every which direction.
Why do they want to do that? Why do they want to have
it's just
cake
so
and eat it too?
Just be single.
Right. Just be single, and if you're reoccurring, okay, cool.
You can have your main boo that you like more so than the others, but
your bottom, biatch.
But to actually especially if you're a player, I just think it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm fascinated about the subject, and I'm writing my book, because I'm just like, do they really care about finding love? Probably not, but what happens if they do, and what does that look like?
You just dropped a bomb, Akiva. You're what?
My book.
I'm writing a book.
But I'm definitely flirting with all these lines of athletes and cheerleaders. And just how similar our worlds are, because there's a lot of overlap there, and there might be a love connection, but it's a forbidden one.
Yeah. Ooh.
So you'll have to stay tuned. I need to get this stuff done.
You do. When do you think it'll be done?
By 2024, sure.
Okay. Not 2024.
No, 2020. 2020.
Sure.
Okay. Sure.
Got it.
And on that note, are we ready for some locker talk
Yes,
and some
locker
new
talk.
rules?
Let's switch it up. So
All right.
Are these rules outdated, or should we keep them?
I think they're a little crusty.
Yeah. They need an update, a refresh.
A little refresh.
Crusty,
Ew. Crusty rules. So you're a director of cheerleading for X Team. Mm-hmm. What are you making as a new rule?
Well, maybe to make it not such a big deal, after 2 years
on the team
as a cheerleader, you would be free to date staff.
Oh.
That would be a rule.
Okay.
So that you can, not their loyalty has been proven, but kind of. You put 2 years in.
Yeah.
You might not even audition again, because that's usually the average.
Yeah, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What do you think? Would you change the rules about dating and just, like, free for all whenever?
I probably wouldn't. Only because...
Like we said, you make it at 18, and you have some player, like, aggressively trying to get at you, and you just give it up because you don't know any better.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? It's just not all about, like, love and dating.
Yeah, and then you're having to try to, as a director, probably, like, coach girls, like, hey, girl, when he tries to go after you, it's not necessarily, like, a compliment. Right. Like, he might
and then you got to do a promo with him, and it's awkward because you smashed, and he tooted and booted.
Yes, and he's on to the next, and you feel crunchy inside. Right. Just too much to try to... Yeah, so I probably wouldn't. But I would change the age
limit?
I would change the age.
Okay. 21.
25.
Wow.
Well,
really?
Maybe that is a little old. But yeah, I kind
of... 25's old?
Well, not old. Just kidding. But I mean, when you think about
later
it...
in your dance career.
Yeah.
Because just like players... Like, supposedly, quote-unquote, dancers don't have that long of a career. Which I think is ridiculous, and people are totally proving that wrong. But it's kind of true.
But I think that, you know, from a professional cheerleading standpoint, I think it is starting to skew a little young. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, I kind of do believe, at least in the levels of it, there's, you know, high school, there's college, and there should be this standard of professional cheerleading that you're grown women, and there's a maturity level that I would expect. I think a lot of these rules would become a lot easier depending on the age range that you're talking about.
I agree.
Maybe not 25, but it would 21. Definitely 21 at a minimum.
Or even 22, so that way, right out of college.
Well, you know, that first year at 21, you're probably doing too much. So maybe you need a year after that when you've gotten all that out of your system, right? And you know how to handle a professional job. Mm-hmm. So that would be one rule. Up the age.
Yeah, I
Not
agree.
where you have, like, you know, too
Well, and this
old.
sounds mean, but then the women should at that time kind of have more of an interesting
life
and things to bring to the table and things that they're passionate about even.
Yeah, because you're just still finding yourself. I think I kind of, I just like that idea. And we'll get to the body image episode next, actually, but I think you'll be a little bit more settled as a woman if you're a little older as well. So that would be a rule. That would be one of my new
That's
rules.
a good one, I think. Age, yeah, because you're tenor, like, is that the right word?
Tenure?
I went through college, I promise. It shouldn't really matter because, what if it should be an age requirement. I like that.
A little bit more mature.
Okay.
All right.
What about... So the appearance is very strict, right?
It is.
So would you like a little more flexibility with that?
Yeah. I mean, not to where we're looking kind of...
WWE or something.
Right.
A little crazy.
Not a little too crazy, but I just got a nose ring when I went onto your bachelorette party / girls trip. Crazy idea, and it hurt like hell, but I love it.
Cute.
Thank you. I would be really, really disappointed if I had to remove it.
And it closed.
Oh my gosh, because then it would be over. I'm not doing that again to myself. That was painful. But I think it kind of fits me, and I would say that why can't I keep it in?
Right.
Like, I like it.
It's not like a ton of piercings or something very alternative.
Or a tongue piercing while you're like
Some of the players have their nose pierced.
Right. I just think that one's a little... But maybe not so much belly button.
Really?
I mean, is that college-y to you? I think it's college.
Bit.
Yeah. I could see that one just being like, okay, we're over that phase. What about tattoos? Would you let people show tattoos?
Maybe that could be up to the director to...
You're the director. What do you say?
I'll have to check them out and make sure that they're appropriate.
Not a tramp stamp?
Not a tramp stamp or some guy's name or
Showing
something.
On your
yeah. No paw prints on the cleavage or anything. But like you have some really cute subtle tattoos that you've had to hide.
Yeah.
One's center, right?
Yeah, right in the top of my abs. I kind of, when I got them, and one at the top of my right thigh. But when I got them, I wanted it to be in an area where, like, if somebody was lucky enough to see it, it was because you could see me in my see me in my bra and panties, basically, or a bikini or something like that. That was my rationale. But yeah, for some of the, gosh, especially the booty shorts for practice. Okay, trying to cover the tattoo on my thigh.
Yeah, the booty shorts rolled up, so it was kind of like...
Rookie year, I think I just stressed myself out so much because I tried Band-Aids, but then you're sweating and they come off. I tried makeup, but then it rubs off because it wasn't that easy at all.
But, like, your tattoos, I think, are great, you know.
Thanks, they're subtle.
So, and I got my tattoo on my foot while I was a cheerleader, so I knew to, like, try to get it in a place that We're never barefoot, except for calendar shoots, which I covered up really well, except that one trip.
Well, you aren't thinking about it, especially traveling. But yeah, maybe if they're tasteful enough, I think we just have this so squeaky clean image that sometimes it's a little... It just mutes boring. Everybody and makes everybody look a little bit too much.
But kind of like what Mickey was saying last episode about like classic makeup for brides.
Yeah.
You don't want to look back 20 years from now and you're showing, I don't know, your grandchildren. Wait, what?
Right.
You just don't want to be showing people and being like, why did I have bright green hair?
Right.
You know, or all these tattoos and piercings. It's kind of like they want it to be timeless and classic look.
I could see that. Maybe too much self-expression and trendy things would be a little...
get out of hand.
Yeah. But, you know, I feel like the NBA dancers get a lot more leeway with this. Like
they do.
Didn't you say there's a girl out there with cute purple hair?
Yeah, she has bright, like, fluorescent, and, like, the neon-colored hair is really popular right now. But she has bright purple hair. I need to find her name so we can tag her. But, yeah, it's so cute. And I even commented on her photo and was like, they allowed this? Because it was just so shocking to see, like, such a bold hair color. She dances for the Wizards. And she was like, it was actually their idea. Like, they really encourage personality. But it's not like 5 girls on the team have crazy hair. That's true. I think she's the one and only.
Well, then their squads are a lot smaller, too. I mean, if you're having a squad of, like, 40 women or, you know, somewhere between 30 and 40, like, maybe you do want more of a uniform, subtle look as opposed to a squad of, like, 16. I don't really know how many are in NBA squads. Right. But maybe you can have one person stand out a lot because you're trying to create 16 to 20 like distinct looks, and so maybe you can have more wiggle room. But I think it makes it more fun, interesting to look at.
More relatable.
Yeah,
just being yourself, right?
Right, and not so
Miss America
all the time.
Yeah.
Well, because there are moments in games, you guys, where you're just so caught up in the moment and you know, you really want to let your hair down and just kind of go a little nuts with it. And sometimes that was
frowned upon.
Like, we can't even... So we play, like, the few times that we get to hear hip-hop, and these poor DJs just play the same dang on songs into the ground.
Rick Ross and
We Them Boys. Yeah, but, you know, for kickoff or different things, they're playing this hip-hop, and we have these... Well, now they're not high heels anymore, but you have these high heel boots on, and you're really just, like, feeling it, and you're wanting to, like, go a little crazy.
Right.
Shout out to Natalie. I danced next to her one year, and she was just so fun, and we probably were the ones that were overdoing it, okay? Because
getting us in trouble.
Probably. But it was so fun because we just kind of, like, let loose, and it was just a chance to show your personality and, like, get into it and really feel music, and then it turned into, like...
just step clap.
Certain type of step clap, and you really could not go hard in the paint. She's like, I don't want to see a bunch of like action up top, and it just felt really sterile.
Yeah.
And wah.
Right. Well, when we went to the Super Bowl, so the year you guys won, I was not on the team. So then the second year, like this is totally unheard of, we were going again.
Right.
That game was insane against Green Bay, and I don't think there was confetti yet. Was there confetti?
There was confetti.
Yeah. And Sunrose, she's like half my size, itty bitty lady, and I was just so excited to be going to the Super Bowl. I mean, of course, she like ran up to me and jumped in my arms like we just were newlyweds, and I swung her around, and I just was like, woohoo! Like it was probably like a 2-second thing. I didn't care, man. Yeah. We were going to the Super Bowl. Got in trouble about that.
Yeah.
Please do not like overly celebrate or something. Like one girl made a confetti angel.
Oh yeah, these are the things that we should be like allowed to do. And I get that you're supposed to celebrate with fans, but we're a team. Like we should have moments of like. So I think I hugged Jolanda. Shout out to Jay. I mean, there's moments where you're just so caught up in the game. Like we were pulling off crazy miracles that game, if you remember too. Like so, you get lost, and it just shows like.
We really love our Seahawks.
And we love each other.
Team. Yeah, we love each other.
And yes, you party with the fans. Oh my gosh. So I'm just going to say it because you reminded me of it. But that game, since we are playing Green Bay on Thursday Night Football, God bless them. But that was a game that there were a lot of fans leaving, calling out some of the 12s. Right. And I was in the northwest corner of the stadium at CenturyLink. And I could see everywhere else that people were leaving. But the fans that were in my corner were staying, and I swear,
they stayed for you.
Did they stay for me?
Yes, they did.
But it was just so, like, man, in that moment, I just wanted to party with the fans so hard because they, like, stayed till the very, very end. And I heard people trying to come back into that game, and they could not enter the building, and they should not have been allowed to. But
don't be leaving.
Yeah,
like we need you more than ever at the end.
Exactly.
Just stay. You paid for the ticket.
This could very well be their last game. Like, stay.
Right.
But anyway, that just sent me on a tangent. But I liked feeling like I was connected with the fans. I like feeling like I'm connected with my girls. If we're dancing and we're making eye contact and we're having a little fun, that's part of it. Like, I think we should relax a little bit on just the prim and perfect all the time rule.
Just having more of a personality. And if you're going cuckoo crazy and look like not cute,
yeah,
as a director, I would pull you to the side and be like, I love your enthusiasm, but tone it down. You know, like
take it down a notch.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's tasteful. But you want to have some life. I just think sometimes you just try so hard to regulate.
Say that about us. Yeah. Like, oh, you guys just stand there and like watch the game. It's like, well, yeah, we do on offense. You're supposed to be quiet too.
Right. Chillax.
Right.
I hate when people scream during offense. Like, cut it out. All right.
Okay.
We've covered our new rules.
Yes, we have. So again, make sure you guys submit your stories, comments, rate us, reviews, all that good stuff.
Yes.
We want to collect some awesome anonymous stories for Hotline Bling. So send them our way.
Yes, indeed. So don't forget to follow us on...
Our new Facebook now is live.
Exactly. Like our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter. Okay, so I know that Twitter's maybe losing some of its pizzazz, but I'm putting out my little desperado plea for people to follow us on Twitter too. So I kind of man Twitter, Brittany mans Instagram. I feel like I'm tweeting to myself, and I'm actually entering into lots of controversial arguments about cheerleaders because I have nobody else to talk to. So follow
you
us
do
on
post
Twitter.
Good stuff.
Oh, follow us on Twitter. But it's fun. We like to interact with you guys, and thank you so much for listening.
Yeah. See you next week.
Until next time.
Keep your eyes
on the sidelines.
Woohoo! Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.